Hello.
Going on Pavement Power Hour. Here we go, man. Good to be on this technology. We love all these technological platforms that we have to get tuned up so we can rock it for everyone.
Smile and nod. It's a new day for all of us, and it's an exciting one as we head into kind of the back half of the season here. Getting lots of questions about the super broker, lots of questions about how do I get on that list? What's a performance partner? So lots of cool topics that I think we're going to go over here today.
Couldn't agree more. Let me get my hat on backwards, ready to rock. Let's do this thing. Let's do this thing, man. I know that we've got a great agenda. So for anybody that's popping on here or anybody watching the recording, you're going to want to stay on all the way to the end because we're going to be dropping golden nuggets along the way that you can certainly pick up, take some notes down and then really apply it to what it is that you're doing, no matter where you are in the journey. People who are just thinking about potentially getting started, people who are already started, or people who have been down the path for quite some time. There's going to be all kinds of value that's dropped throughout these Pavement Empire Power Hours. So excited to do that with you, Dylan. Let's do this thing.
Absolutely. And as we go through this, guys, don't be afraid to post any of your questions and stuff there as we kind of make our way through. So, Judd, I'm glad I got you on the stream as always. It's Batman and Robin here. Today, I think one question we keep on getting on the round tables, one question that we keep getting kind of as we're talking with potential super brokers is, how do I get the work done? And there's that ugly word subcontractor, and there's that beautiful word performance partner. So maybe you can walk us through that, and hopefully we have some questions come through from the audience here.
Yeah, it's such an important thing, when you're building a business, and I don't care if you're brokering business as a subcontractor, or whether you're actually self-performing your projects and you're looking to have other companies perform projects that might be out of your realm as it relates to your crews capability, their experience, and also the equipment that you have within your business. So an example would be, let's say that you own an asphalt maintenance company, a seal coating business, and you're looking to potentially get into doing some deals around paving, right? Because you're already speaking with all kinds of customers. And so at the end of the day, you're going to have people that will approach you and say, hey, do you do any kind of paving work, or do you do any kind of concrete work? And the answer is, you can say yes, or you can say no. That's the bottom line here. And you don't need to be dishonest about it. You can say, yes, I do that work through performance partners that I work with, that I've built some really great relationships with. And so when I hear subcontractor, I hear something that's just kind of dry. It's not very connected. It is not warm for me at all. It is just like, hey man, I've got this project. I'm going to sub somebody in. They're going to do the work and we're going to be done. Like, that's very, very transactional. And I think that in business, when you're actually building your company, it's fun to go through building the transactional phase of your business, which is processes and systems, but then to go into building great culture that creates that glue, that lifetime value, and of course, the enterprise value for your business. And so I like to take the mindset from subcontractor to more of that performance partner. And so when you're choosing your subcontractor and moving that into a performance partnership that you're going to be working with, there's some things that you want to do. And these key 3 things that I think you should focus on when you're building these performance partnerships is, 1, sit down with them and actually understand a little bit more about who they are as a human. Like, get to know them, right? Understand a little bit more about who they are. What are their core values? What is the foundational operation that they're operating from with their business? So getting to know each other is something really important. The second thing is making sure that you're taking a look at their reviews online, taking a look business on Facebook at company that they may say they are, right? And you can do that with social proof. And then the third thing that I recommend that you do is you take a close look at their equipment, their supplies, the way that their branding is on their trucks, and so on and so forth. Are these guys that have a roller that's not tied down on a trailer and they're driving down a highway and the truck bed is half rusted out where asphalt's falling out the base of the bed? And so, those are, some areas that there's a whole list, but those are 3 key areas that you can focus on to determine if this is a performance partnership that you're going to nurture, which will need nurturing, no different than a friendship or a relationship, to be able to actually build a performance partnership for life. And also the other thing is, you're not limited to one performance partnership.
Right.
You build many. And so when we're going through the super broker training, what we do is we actually, when we're building the prospect lists and teaching people how to build prospect lists to target from a customer standpoint, it's people that people that your people know, and then cold call. But there's that extra tab, which is the performance partners. And that's an important thing, right? Performance partners are not just asphalt maintenance and repair. It's paving, it's concrete, pressure washing, commercial roofing, et cetera. There's all kinds of different performance partnerships that you can build over time. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you hit on some really interesting points there as well. I think, one thing when I think about a subcontractor, I think about that as that's a transaction. Hey, I need somebody to do this part of a job for me. When I hear performance partner, I think this is a symbiotic relationship. This is work going back and forth, and we're building relationships so that we can make each other's businesses better and solve more problems for our clientele. But, really right down to the, asphalt falling out of the hot box, rusting out truck beds, maybe not having the shared values. Those values are critical to having a really, beneficial performance partner relationship where, if you don't get along with them or you don't have shared values, that performance partner, their values are what gets passed down to their staff, their equipment, and everything else. And if you don't align, it can be a really, really poor look for your company, right?
Couldn't agree more. The other thing to add here is like a lot of people do not understand the depth of this, but it's like if I have a business that is great at sales and there's another business that's really great at just doing the work and have the equipment and supplies and the crews to do the work, that's the kind of performance partnership that both parties love. To be in that relationship, because you're solving each other's pain points and you're bringing a valuable opportunity to the table together with what your strengths are. We just went through the culture index like this, similar to a disc. I'd spoken with you about that as well, but like it's a little bit more deeper than that. It's like athletes that are, can you hear me? Can you hear me loud and clear, Dylan?
I can hear you loud and clear. Yeah.
Did I lose you?
No, I can hear you. Can you hear me? You might have to hotspot in. Guys, we might have lost Judd there for a moment, but I think what he's talking about here is just how critical it is to have that performance partnership where it's a two-way street between, you're solving a problem for your customer and you're doing it through a performance partner. And the benefit to that performance partner is that they've received work that they otherwise would not have. They didn't have the inside track to it. So it really becomes this compounding relationship where, you solve a problem in the short term for them because they needed the work. They solve a problem in the short term for you because you didn't have the capability to do that work. And then as you kind of develop and build out that relationship, the dollars and cents and the amount of work that you're able to generate together just becomes exponential, and it compounds and it compounds and it compounds. And it really is a long-term relationship. It's not transactional. And I think that's the primary key here.
Right. So the culture index, we just went through culture index training with a group of people. It's similar to a disc. And my wife's here. I should get her on. We're live here on YouTube and Facebook with all kinds of people watching. You want to come say hello? No, I don't. Come say hello. No. Oh, she's too shy. She's too busy taking care of all of us. So the culture index is something that you basically go through these an analysis of your traits and your behaviors and how you align both if you were to overlap them. And it's really cool to learn about different people in your immediate circle of who they are, kind of what kind of character traits that they have and how they operate, how they like to be communicated with, and the things that they love to do. And I think we can all agree that nobody's really the same. However, groups of people are going to be similar in the things that they love and that they appreciate doing every day. And so, at the end of the day, what I tend to say is the super broker opportunity. There's 4 key traits that are aligned. So we have the A, we've got the B and C and D. So we've got A, B, C, D. The A character is very high autonomy. I'm full of energy, a vision, I'm looking ahead. Those are usually sales-oriented people, man. It's like high autonomy. And then they go into the B, which is more of how do I communicate with people and can I influence people and these kind of things. And so the B trait is just usually off of that A trait for really high-level salespeople. And then underneath that, you'll have the C trait, which is someone who has. Did I lose you again?
You're in and out. Are you hotspotting or are you on Starlink?
I'm getting tethered, Mr. Dunn. I'm getting into the C trait. Hold on.
And then the W trait, which is Wi-Fi. Um, for those of you guys watching here, Mr. Judd is in Panama right now, and his Wi-Fi is hit or miss at times. So it looks like we got him back here. It seems to be a
I
little
am
bit better.
trying. I am trying my absolute best until Elon has the Starlink that's going to get delivered. That's 2 months behind schedule, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Getting into the C trade, I think this puts a little fun thing. The C trade is like is the patience. And so salespeople generally don't have a lot of patience. And so that's usually to the left. And then the D trade is attention to detail, which is usually to the left as well. So you've got salespeople that are fueled up with energy, autonomy, vision, and going after it, hungry. And then you've got the B trait, which is the people, how I deal with people and how I influence. And so if you have somebody who has a high A and B trait, which I'll tell you are super brokers that are inside of our company right now, are people who are excited about vision, excited about influencing people. And what we're finding is that the people who just want to go do the work, that red A trait is usually far over to the left. They just want to go do the work, man. They don't even want to deal with people all that much, but their attention to detail and their patience are more, they have more patience, and they also want to focus in on detail. So going there, that's really where I'm going, is the A, B, C, and D traits are important to put two groups together.
I like that. And I think it ties into something that's important. You know, you mentioned the super brokers, you know, those are kind of your hunters almost, you know, versus you've got kind of those self-performers that have maybe been around for 10 or 15 years. They're almost a farmer, right? Where, you know, they've got their book of business and they're kind of keeping it going, but they're not growing because, you know, they're not hungry and they're not out there chasing. So, you know, maybe you can, you know, speak to sort of expectation setting and sort of what that relationship looks like. Like one of the big questions I get is, well, how do you handle pricing? You know, you know, who's quoting the work and how is everybody making money? You know, can you maybe shed some light on that for our viewers here today? Might have lost him here. And he's back.
Dylan, you might need to do this jam alone. I don't know what's going on. It's the wrong time that this internet connection is kind of weak. But what I would like to do is I would like to actually invite everyone who is watching this or has watched it. Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we've got a badass AK roundtable coming up. We've got some real incredible stuff that is going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to be live with a group of probably 40, 50, 60 people. And you're going to be on screen on Zoom. And so that's a really good session. So Dylan, what I would recommend is if I keep freezing, man, I don't want to hold people back here and just
Sure.
to go through some stuff. But for right now, it's working.
Perfect. Well, I just posted that weekly roundtable to the vid stream here. So for those of you who haven't been on that, that's a wonderful opportunity just to have a like-minded group of people, you know, where if you're in the asphalt business or you're trying to get into the asphalt business and don't really know where to start, there's anywhere from 30 to 50 individuals on there religiously every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And it's just guys chatting, celebrating wins, talking about their problems as it relates to their asphalt maintenance business. And if you're thinking about getting into the business, it's a great place to get some additional information. Or if you're in the business, just a great place to have a community, as well as potentially answer a lot of your questions. You know, maybe you're having a problem client or a problem on a job. You know, Judd, best guess. I mean, there's got to be, you know, at least 500 years of asphalt experience on that
Oh,
call.
yeah.
So perfect.
Tons,
Well,
tons of experience. Yeah.
100%. So one thing that is relevant to our conversation here today, but Skylar, one of our coaches out of Pennsylvania, there, he made a really good point about finding sort of performance partners, and that's kind of where we're going to kind of take the conversation next. But real good pro tip: he would call his concrete and asphalt plants and ask them for, hey, who are the big guys in town, and then use that as a way to reach out to potential performance partnerships. So why don't we talk about that a little bit here, Judd, and just how do I find a performance partner? Because I think that's it's not something that everybody does, because they go, well, why would somebody just come and work for me when they've got their own work? So objection handling 101. Let's talk about, how do you find a performance partner?
Yeah, it's a great question. And so what I would ask everyone watching, this is the question. If you find someone who is an incredible paving company, and you find that they are absolutely slammed with work and they've got their own sales teams and they're unable to actually fulfill their own jobs in a timely fashion, do you think that that is an ideal performance partner? And the answer is absolutely not. Okay. However, there are sometimes these interesting opportunities where these paving companies can see certain projects as the unicorn type projects that you might bring to the table. And so don't write them off, but have a conversation with them to ask them, if you were to hypothetically bring a project forward to them that they would entertain performing on your behalf or with you, what kind of project what would that look like? Mm-hmm. And ask them that question, because there may be some opportunities. They may want to be paving 500,000 square footers. And so right. you now have a performance partner that's potentially a 500,000 square footer, whereas your other performance partner that might be a smaller company that doesn't really have a sales team, and they're looking to have their equipment operating in the field as much as possible, because idle equipment is costing money. Any equipment that's sitting there not operating is not performing. It is not making you money. It's depreciating.
Yeah.
And so when you find the smaller companies that have a challenge with sales, you're going to find that those companies are really eager and interested in having these conversations, because you really are bringing business to them that wouldn't have been there otherwise. Mm-hmm. And so let me ask you, like, somebody who owns a small business that's been in the business for, let's say, 2-3 years, and they're producing great quality work because you've seen it and great reviews from customers. How much fun would it be for you to bring a sales powerhouse partnership to the table and have them be your power pack performance partner that's actually going out to service the lots and do the work for you, to perform the projects? How cool would it be to grow each other's company together and not even have to dilute equity or anything of that sort? And, who knows what could happen down the road, but the reality of it is, for goodness sakes, this is about networking. This is about relationships. This is about going out and finding the people who are excited and eager to work with you. And if you have to stand there and beg for someone to perform a project for you, and they're not interested, and you've taken the time to actually explore building that relationship, then they're not the right fit. And so when in the super broker area, as you know, we start to lay out the 18-month plan, and then we go into core value development. And really, at the point that we've got the 18-month plan and core values, we can start to really hunt for the right kind of performance partners. And of course, people that you may have a network of people that might know companies that are out there. You may know people that know other people that might know companies. You might have a relationship or not with a concrete plant or an asphalt plant. You may or may not have a list of the people or the companies that you're searching for on Google to see that they've got 5-star reviews. But man, you're winking at that going, man, I could turn that to 150 reviews if we did this thing right together, right? So I think look for the up and coming superstars that you can start to build relationships with. set up multiple performance partners for different size projects that people can do really well. Pushing smaller paving companies that are residential paving companies into, a 200,000 square foot lot right out of the gate might not be the best bet for you. And you're in control of that as a super broker. You are in control as a sales powerhouse in building these different relationships to perform the projects that you have gone to sell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there definitely is a capacity sort of issue that you have to look at when you're working with performance partners. If they're a primarily residential driveway paver, they're not going to be set up to do big parking lots, right? But that's not to say that they're not perfectly set up to do a gas station or a small commercial lot, right? So you hit an interesting point there on having multiple performance partners that hit different kind of sectors of the industry and the kind of the capacity that you need to do those. And it's the same thing for seal coaters or stripers and stuff like that. If a guy's got one striping machine, he's not going to be able to handle them all, right? So understanding what those kind of levels are. So, if you were to break projects down, like maybe you can give me 3 categories that you would kind of break a project down into in terms of size and scope. Like, how would you break that down? Maybe you can give some examples from the real world, like what's a McDonald's versus a mall.
Yeah. So a couple things. One is with the super broker program, we don't hunt the goldfish, we hunt whales, just to be clear. And I mean that in the most positive sense. And for anybody that is taking what I just said seriously as it relates to whales, please don't think we're hunting whales. We're hunting great big opportunities, account-based sales that have multiple properties attached to them. That's what we're going after. And why? Because we have some guarantees that are really, really important that we have to follow through with our super broker partners to make sure we hit certain numbers by certain timelines. So those guarantees are really important. 1, and 2 is we have to make sure that we're activating a pipeline that's going to allow us to get there as quickly as we can, so we can break through that guarantee. But where I was going with that, can you hear me loud and clear, Dylan?
Loud and clear.
Cool. So when we think quick serve restaurants, QSRs, let's think about Chick-fil-A, let's think about McDonald's. We're speaking about 20 to 25,000 square feet per lot. And so 20 to 25,000 square feet per lot, if you're going to do a restoration on a lot like that, you're speaking anywhere from $12,500 to $25,000 for restoration, depending on the pavement's life cycle stages, damage, deterioration, et cetera, and also the level and scope of which you're going to be applying to that surface. So, 1 coat, 2 coat, additives, non-additives, sand, et cetera. I personally think that everyone should be sticking with the gold standard, which we've come up with at Asphalt Kingdom. If you want to learn more about the AK Gold Standard, by the way, click that QR code that's in the top of the screen. You can get with Dylan on this, and you can have a chat about how to get Gold Standard certified as well. We've got some cool opportunities that are coming down the pipeline here for everyone, to say the least. And so what we need to think about is 20 to 25,000 square feet is kind of that QSR niche, 7-Elevens, Tim Hortons in Canada, that kind of area. When we start getting into banks, Chase Banks and Wells Fargo and different Bank of America and that kind of stuff, we start to get into lots that are in that 30 to 50,000 square foot range with drive-throughs and the parameters and parking and all of that. So when you're getting into the smaller type restaurant QSR work, we need to think about, you're not only dealing with a square footage that's one of the variables, but there's business interruption as well. There's these things a lot of the time run 24/7, and every day that they're closed is a big challenge. And so we need to make sure we have performance partners that can do the size of the project, but also within the timelines or phases that have been laid out, so that we can fulfill the obligations that we've set as an expectation with the client. So there's that. And then there's getting into larger lots when we start thinking about, for example, a commercial complex that's 150,000 square foot or 100K plus, as we say, to 250, the ones with the nail salons, the Subway, there's, the shoe store and maybe another few other little dollar stores, et cetera, that are in that complex, multi-plaza. when we start to get into those, again, it's again business interruption, but it's a little bit different because at night they're closed, and so you get into someone that needs to pave that lot. You know, somebody who's operating you know, a C30 dump truck with a small pocket paver is going to have a hard time doing a $150,000 square foot paving project. So what kind of trucks do they have access to? Fleet access? Do they have the ability to actually perform those projects with the right pavers, the right crews, and to be able to do that? And then there's the bigger ones, which I'm a huge fan of, are the 500,000 square footers to 1 million square footers. Those are, you know, usually when you go to property management companies that are large commercial property management companies and you start communicating with them, they'll have a portfolio that will have, you know, targets, and sometimes they'll have these massive big box stores that they're responsible for, that's a part of their property. And so when we get into 500,000 square feet, it's a completely different beast. And people are saying, well, how do I know how to go and sell a 500,000 square foot lot? And the answer is, going to sell a 500,000 square foot lot is actually the easiest part of it all. Mm-hmm. Having a performance partner that is capable of doing that is really, really important. And the amazing thing is that on those massive projects, 500,000 square feet and so on, you'll sometimes have multiple companies involved with executing on a project like that, and they'll mobilize from other states and they'll come in and actually do these projects. You'll get crews that will fly from other states to come execute on these projects. They'll travel with a fleet across the country to perform on those projects. And so the answer is really simple here is, once you understand the sales process associated with doing the pavement assessments, the proposal. Am I back?
You're back. Can you hear us, Judd?
Am I back?
You're back with some latency.
All right. Can you hear me loud and clear?
I can hear you loud and clear now.
Where did I lose you?
You were just talking about performance partners coming from out of state.
Yeah. So, I mean, they'll mobilize. You'll have a fleet that will come in from out of state to execute on those bigger projects. So really, this is not rocket science. It's more a matter of understanding what needs to get done with people who have been there, done that before, and connecting with the right people. This is not rocket science. And so if you're strong in sales, be great at sales and understand the process. If you're 100%. Not great at sales, let's explore other opportunities to be able to help you. But just to be clear, no matter where you are in the process, and no matter what you love to do, there's a place for you. And you know, you can click that QR code and you can explore it, man, no matter where you are. We have people that are considering starting a business, are really hesitant or shy to buy equipment, and that's okay. Don't invest into equipment, invest into some initial training to go out and close some deals, get some deposits in, and then let's grow your business, for heaven's sakes.
100%. Yeah, like when you're able to, you know, if you're sort of humming and hawing about spending 5 or 10 grand on equipment, you know, it's a lot easier to spend 5 or 10K on equipment if you've got 20K at work, because you know the equipment is paid for, right? So unreal. I want to touch on something that, you know, you kind of indirectly touched on, but for example, you know, you've got people coming in from maybe out of state to do some projects. This is a big project, or maybe you've got, you know, somebody local, you've got a long-term relationship that, you know, you're doing some QSRs with. What about kind of the insurance and licensing requirements of working with pavement partners? I mean, I know that that's a question that I've come across, and it's something that I do have some experience with running my business, but it's very jurisdiction dependent. So can you maybe speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, it really depends on the details of when you say jurisdiction, like there's state regulations around this kind of stuff. But here's what I would always say to you is, you really, really need to make sure that you have the liability insurance to be able to operate within a certain region, any licensing requirements, and that varies depending on where you are. You know, it could be different in Colorado than it is in Florida, and you really want to get down to a detailed level of understanding and making sure that you've covered your ass on all fronts. And so having that liability insurance and insurance relating to the projects in general is going to be super important. It's also extremely important that your performance partners are providing you with all of the paperwork to make sure that they are licensed and have the necessary insurance to be able to go and operate on a project like that. And to be clear, a QSR project that you're going to operate on may not require the same kind of insurance levels needed when you're operating on a 500,000 square foot lot, for example. And there's umbrella policies, there's all kinds of different things, but speaking with an insurance expert around that and making sure that you have the clear licensing requirements specific to the state is really, really important. But those are areas that, you know, we will advise on who you should reach out to and communicate with, but in no way, shape, or form are we advising on the exact insurance or the licensing that you need. We connect you with the right people to be able to do that, or authorities.
Gotcha. So, I mean, if we were to recap that, you know, I think we'd want to say, be aware of your local jurisdiction. So state and municipal bylaw. And, you know, you're going to want to probably engage an insurance professional and say, this is what I'm doing. What are the insurancing and licensing requirements in this area? Because they're going to be a lot more up to speed on that specific geographic area. But generally speaking, general liability insurance, maybe professional insurance, depending on the state, workers' compensation. You know, you don't want to be held liable for, you know, one of your performance partners' workers getting injured. Umbrella insurance comes into it. But I think the other thing that's really important is a subcontractor agreement on a per project basis. That's just going to outline expectations in terms of the project, the payment terms. The other thing that's important, I guess, is a hold harmless clause. Like, can you speak to that at all? Or?
Yeah, you absolutely want to have all of anything that you can legally have executed to not hold you in harm of any kind of situation where somebody gets hurt on a lot, somebody ends up getting in an accident, like your performance partner has an accident on the lot. We need to make sure that all T's are crossed and all I's are dotted. I actually have, for anyone that's interested in communicating with one of our key insurance partners that we have, Quentin Lovejoy is an awesome guy. I'm going to actually drop you the URL, Dylan, because I think you're the only one that can post it in the comments. So let me just send this through to you. But Quentin's an amazing superstar, man. He provides insurance to a lot of our contractor networks as well as our super broker networks. So we can have anyone that has questions around the insurance speak to the professional. That's, for me, the best thing is connect with the professionals. This is coming over to you right now, buddy.
Perfect. I'll be popping that into the chat here shortly. So, you know, I think just kind of over to recap on that, Judd, you know, when it comes to, you know, working with performance partners, first and foremost, consult those local regulations. Second step is to verify subcontractor compliance. So make sure that, you know, they're sending you over all their proof of insurance, and make sure that you're verifying that. Secure your own insurance, and then, you know, draft a robust contract. So, you know, make sure that you've kind of covered as many of the bases as you possibly know. You know, it's not to say that you have to, you know, veer away from having a standard form contract, but you want to make sure that every contract and subcontractor agreement that you have is specific to the job at hand. You want to avoid having kind of a standing agreement that covers multiple projects. You really want to hyper focus in on the exact project that you guys are working on. So perfect.
Every project is so different too. That's the challenge, right? It's like, you know, you go and operate, you go and you are essentially doing some asphalt maintenance projects that are around pothole repair. And then all of a sudden you're doing a project that's a 500,000 square foot new installation with, you know, all sidewalks and curbing and everything else. And there's a 14-day shutdown on that property and so on and so forth. There's all kinds of things that go into play. So I've shared a couple links with you. Hopefully that will be helpful to anyone that's looking for more information about detailed insurance.
Absolutely. Yeah, both of those came through, and both of those are in the chat now for everybody watching to be able to go and grab. So before we kind of move on, I mean, I know that we've got some internet issues on your end, but I think it's a great time to just open it up to any sort of question and answers out of the comments section here. Got a couple of people live here, so in terms of the super broker agreement, it really is just a no-brainer for super brokers as well as performance partners. It's a free salesperson, right? I mean, I know when I was running my company, I was paying, between $80,000 and $100,000 a year to have a salesperson go out and, find work and mine my own client lists and, essentially just drive business for me. But, to be able to have no danger of an overhead cost of having a salesperson and be able to just generate more and more revenue and build your business. I mean, it's really a two-way street.
So I want to jump in because I want to cut to the chase on something here. Like I've personally invested over $100,000 in sales training and getting my sales skills sharp, objections, tracks, all the different, anything to do with sales, like know the closer framework like the back of my hand. Alex Hermosi, Jack Daly, like all the guys, like Jeb Blount. I mean, our sales team at Asphalt Kingdom are part of Sales Gravy University. What I want to say is this: the super broker offer, straight up, is. Can you hear me, Dylan? Loud and clear right now. Okay.
Loud and clear.
The super broker opportunity is you're investing 60 grand into actually having everything you need to build a sales powerhouse of a business, including all of the marketing setup, your brand setup, everything is part of that as $60,000. And that's the offer, is $60,000 to build a sales business in a thriving industry. Now, what was the number one thing that you heard? Like Skylar brought this up, man. He's like on the roundtable even. He has become so efficient in operating with his business to perform projects that he is now asking for what?
Salespeople and super brokers, because he's got more equipment and more capability than he can sell.
If there was a super broker that was stationed within a couple 100 miles from Skylar,
yeah,
I'm telling you right now, Skylar would mobilize with his crews and he would go and perform those projects like a super beast. Yeah. He would go and do that. And so when you have people who are high performing outfits that are going to perform projects and they're yelling for more sales, bring it on, man. We're an efficient machine. We can pump out all this work. And all they're asking for is more sales. Let me ask the question. Is asphalt absolutely everywhere? Yes or no?
Yes.
Does it need to be maintained and repaired throughout its life cycle stages?
Yes.
Or it becomes unsafe, doesn't last as long, and it doesn't look well, right?
Yes.
Does asphalt eventually need to be replaced?
Yes.
And that cycle keeps repeating and repeating and repeating. And guess what? Property owners and facility managers are looking for great people to communicate effectively and using technology to be able to give them historical data and forward data on how they can manage their pavement assets. And so I ask anybody who's even exploring the super broker opportunity right now, I ask you this important question. Are you willing to do what it takes to go out and sell jobs in an industry that's absolutely unstoppable? If yes, we want you to join the team. You can click the QR code right there, start to explore it. But it's right at your fingertips, and you've got companies that are waiting for you to drive business to them right now. Even just within the Asphalt Kingdom network, there are massive amounts of contractors, thousands of them. We literally have 3,000 members a part of the roundtable that are screaming for more work. Just bring us more work. They're just missing the sales connection. That's it.
Judd, great question just came in here from Lightning there in terms of the investment of 60K and if that's just for the brokers. Yes. So if you're a performance partner, if you want to be a performance partner, the best way to do that is to get on AK Dash, and through AK Dash, your super brokers are able to see you and find you. So it doesn't cost anything to be a performance partner. And that's why it's such a no-brainer to sort of team up with super brokers, is the super brokers don't own a shovel. You know, they need performance partners. So the only thing that you're giving away as a performance partner is some markup on that job to be able to go out and produce it. But you have no cost to acquire. You know, you didn't market that job. You didn't have to put anything on the front end. You didn't have to, you know, lose jobs to be able to get this job. So it really is just a no-brainer. So lightning striping, I hope that answers your question there. Judd, do you want to add anything there?
I do. I do. And it's so great, right? Like lightning striping, you want more business that wouldn't have been there otherwise. I know you'd raise your hand if I asked you to raise your hand right now, because you do. You want more business that wouldn't have been there otherwise. What if there was a super broker in a territory that was driving a bunch more business to some of those key partners that really produce great work, that have great core values, and that are working in a partnership together to execute? Well, your calendars would be more full. Your schedule would be more full. And remember, you're not having to pay commissions out to anyone. You're not having to generate these leads. So there's no cost per lead. And so your performance partner's selling the deal at a markup, and or you're giving them discount, or a little bit of both. And that's how the super broker makes their money. It's a complete performance deal. There's no risk to you. Mm-hmm. And so I want to help everyone understand this, that at Asphalt Kingdom right now, we're going heavy on building the network. We've been going heavy for 20 years on building the network of contractors that are performing in the field. And now it's time that we add in super brokers who are ultimate sales machines that are going to be driving more and more deals that wouldn't have been there otherwise, so we can get everyone in the industry more rich. We are missing more super brokers right now than we'd like. We have an opportunity to be able to grow that. We're taking on 4 a month right now. No more than 4 a month, so that we can really be intimate with these super brokers and get them the exact information that they need to be able to grow their business quickly. And we're guaranteeing it as well. And if you want to know more about that, you want to click that QR code. And we're not interested in tire kickers. People are going to come and just waste time. We're interested in serious people who really believe that they have strengths with sales, right? And if you don't have strengths with sales, don't bother clicking the QR code. If you have strength with sales and you're willing to learn our system, the 5-step close process, we can teach you how to do this quickly, very quickly. We have super brokers that are learning how to fill their pipelines within 2 months. And that's where we're going with this is, if you are that person, click it. If not, and you're just someone who wants to go out there and perform the work, that's awesome. We're coming to help you soon. We just need more super brokers to help you guys.
100%. Well said. Well said. And I did post the super broker link there below. So if anybody's just curious about what that entails, that's a great link that you can head to. And if you say, hey, you know, this checks all of the boxes for me, I'm a sales and marketing professional. I don't want to get into, you know, being on the tools. I just want to keep selling and keep on marketing and keep building relationships with clientele as well as performance partners, then you're a perfect fit. And you got to scan that QR code and hop on a quick call with me so we can kind of explore that opportunity. So, Judd, we've got the round table coming up tomorrow. Do you want to add anything on the super broker side of things and sort of source and performance partners? I mean, I think we covered a lot today in terms of being able to, you know, understand the opportunity, being able to find those super brokers, understanding the insurance and regulatory side of working with super brokers and performance partners, and how that all kind of fits together. Anything that you wanted to add on those kind of topics before we do a quick little sign off here?
I think really this is what it's about, right? Like when I think geographically, I want everybody to just take their mind for 1 second and geographically, and you can go on Google Earth or you can go onto Google Maps. I want you to go into every metropolitan city in the United States of America as well as Canada. And I want you to think about the amount of pavement that exists. And I want you to think about the number of contractors that are in those markets right now to service that pavement. There's not enough to service all the pavement. And in addition to that, the majority of the contractors that are in those markets are not even answering their phones because they don't like to sell.
Right.
And so if you actually learn the sales process and you learn how to close sales using our proven step-by-step fashion that we use, and then AK- the system that ties it all together, you have an opportunity to stimulate a market. You have an opportunity to stimulate an industry. And let's face it, right now, more than ever, we need small businesses that are working hard together to build powerhouse companies together so that we can actually stimulate these economic times that exist. And asphalt is not going anywhere. It's not being replaced by some new invention. There's not going to be robots that are replacing our guys out there in the field. We need to pave anytime soon anyway. But like, that's just everyone who is on here right now. No matter what it is that you love to do what you love to do what you're strong at, and pursue it aggressively. Don't hold back, because nothing makes me more sad to see someone who goes another 5 years doing something that they don't love to do when they had an opportunity to do it. And for those of you that want to work with us, that you truly want to be able to dive into this stuff and learn, let's do this thing, man. That's what I want you to know, is like, we desire to work with people who are eager and willing, ready to learn, so that we can build inevitable success, because we've got all the tools, all the systems, and we know that we'll follow through with it so much that we even have a guarantee. So click that QR code. Let's set up some meetings. Let's get on a call. Dylan and I can hop on with you, and let's choose to move something forward of magnitude. Let's do this thing.
100%. We've got the path, we've got the blueprint. It's just a matter of you opting in and saying, let's go out and get it, right? Perfect. We might have lost Judd again here, guys, but hopefully everybody grabbed a little bit of value from this, whether you're an existing contractor and you're looking to kind of expand into services that maybe you don't have the equipment for right now. Performance partnerships are a great way to do that. Or maybe you're looking at getting into the industry and you're looking at kind of the different avenues that you can go about getting into the industry. Super Broker is an exceptional opportunity. If you want to be a self-performer, then being connected with Super Brokers is a big opportunity as well. So on the third side of things, you know, if you're still researching the industry, if you're in the industry, you need questions answered, and you know, you're not 100% sure of kind of how to grow your business, a great way to kind of get some motivation is to hop onto those weekly roundtables there. Again, that's 30 to 50 like-minded individuals sharing wins, sharing problems, problem solving together, and ultimately just providing that kind of community of like-minded people who are all committed to kind of grabbing it by the horns and growing, right? So post that link there below. Strongly encourage you to hop on that. 100% free and 100% value every time we go there. Judd, you're the MC assassin when it comes to the weekly roundtable. Anything you want to add before we hop off the call here?
No matter where you are, no matter what you desire to do, I'm going to ask you, I want you to take this picture into your mind right now. Are you a pink little My Little Pony, or are you a frickin' Clydesdale? I ask you guys that question. Which one are you, My Little Pony or Clydesdale? Because I can tell you one thing for sure. I wake up and I'm a Clydesdale, hunting and activating exactly what it is that I want to build in my future, which is freedom. Do the same thing in your life. Let's do this thing. Look forward to seeing you 7 p.m. on the Roundtable Wednesday.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate everybody hopping on, and looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.